40 years through all my losses, my mother, my girlfriend, my son.
At 71 years old, John Travolta has made a series of quiet, unsettling decisions that have deeply concerned those closest to him. To the public, they may look like gestures of reflection or generosity. To his family and longtime friends, they feel like something else entirely, like preparation. Since 2025 began, Travolta has been giving away personal belongings that once defined entire chapters of his life. Memorabilia from career-defining films, keepsakes tied to his marriage, even objects that carried the emotional fingerprints of his children. He has recorded what he himself described as a final message to fans, a phrase that alone sent shockwaves through his inner circle. The death hoaxes that spread across social media this year did not come out of nowhere. They struck a nerve because something about his behavior had already changed. Those closest to him sense that John Travolta knows something about his future that he is not fully sharing, and the weight of that knowledge seems to sit heavily on his shoulders. That weight did not appear suddenly. It is the accumulation of a lifetime shaped by extreme highs and devastating losses. To understand why his recent actions feel so final, it is necessary to return to the beginning. John Joseph Travolta was born on February 18, 1954, in Englewood, New Jersey, the youngest of 6 children in a tightly packed, working-class Italian-American household. His father, Salvatore Travolta, ran a small tire shop and spent long days carrying the financial burden of a large family. His mother, Helen Cecilia Burke, had once dreamed of a career on the stage. Though life pulled her in other directions, she never abandoned that passion. Instead, she transformed their modest home into a place filled with performance, music, and imagination. Helen taught acting classes and rehearsed constantly, often turning the family living room into a makeshift stage. Songs from The Sound of Music, My Fair Lady, and Oklahoma echoed through the walls. Costumes were improvised from whatever fabric could be found. Dialogue was repeated again and again, sometimes late into the night. John watched his mother rehearse with a glow in her eyes, absorbing not just the mechanics of performance, but the emotional escape it offered. Even as a child, he sensed that acting was more than pretending. It was survival. By the time he was 12, that instinct was undeniable. In one school play, John stepped onto the stage and felt something shift. His movements were natural, his timing instinctive. When the audience erupted in applause, the sound hit him like a door swinging open. For a boy growing up in a small house with limited money and endless noise, that applause felt like possibility. It was proof that there was a place where he could be seen without being judged. School, however, was rarely kind. John was bullied relentlessly for his thin frame, his gentle manner, and a stutter that tangled his words when he was nervous. Classmates mocked his voice, his walk, even his fair skin, calling him Pinky. Many days, he wanted to disappear before lunchtime. At home, he coped the only way he knew how, by performing. He acted out scenes for his siblings, exaggerated his pain into humor, and let laughter dull the sting of cruelty. His mother noticed the way performing calmed him, the way it transformed insecurity into focus. She pushed him toward theater not as a hobby, but as a lifeline. At 12, Helen directed a local community play titled Who Will Save the Plowboy, and cast John in a small role. The part was minor, but once he stepped on stage, instinct took over. He altered his tone, slipped in accents, added small jokes not written into the script. The audience responded immediately, laughing louder with each unexpected beat. When the curtain fell, they gave him a standing ovation, something rare enough that even the adults backstage were stunned. That night, etched itself into John's identity. He knew, with absolute certainty, that this was what he was meant to do. At 16, against his parents' wishes, he dropped out of Dwight Morrow High School. Armed with little more than determination and a small amount of cash, he moved to New York City. He stayed at a YMCA that charged $1 a night. During the day, he worked whatever jobs he could find: washing dishes, delivering flowers, cleaning buildings. At night, he attended free acting classes, sometimes sneaking into sessions he technically wasn't enrolled in. He returned to his narrow YMCA bed exhausted but stubbornly hopeful, repeating the same promise to himself: survive one more day. His mother helped him enroll at the neighborhood playhouse School of the Theater, where he studied voice with Dan Sullivan. Sullivan recognized Travolta's raw talent, but warned him bluntly: the industry would break him if he didn't build emotional armor. Talent, he said, was never enough. Discipline, resilience, and humility would determine whether he survived. The training was intense and deeply emotional. Travolta learned breath control, movement, and how to shape vulnerability into strength. Over time, his stutter faded. He carried Sullivan's warning with him long after graduation, using it as a compass when success arrived. That same year, at just 16, Travolta landed his first paid acting job at the Cherry Lane Theater in Bye Bye Birdie, earning $75 a week. The theater was cramped, the backstage chaotic, but each performance sharpened his instincts. He memorized lines quickly, studied veteran actors, and learned how to hold an audience's attention. 2 years later, in 1972, he appeared in the off-Broadway play Rain alongside Blythe Danner. The show closed after 2 weeks due to poor reviews, leaving Travolta broke and homeless. He slept on park benches, wandered the city for hours, and auditioned endlessly. That period taught him how quickly the industry could lift someone up and abandon them. In 1973, he joined the national tour of Greece, playing Duty. The role was small, but it gave him space to improvise and experiment with movement. Night after night, city after city, he learned endurance. In 1974, he reached Broadway in Over Here, alongside the Andrews Sisters. The show ran for 341 performances and became the season's biggest musical hit. Travolta sang A Million Miles Away, revealing a strong tenor voice few expected. The success opened doors to Hollywood and introduced him to future collaborators who would shape his career. Television followed quickly. In 1975, after narrowly missing other opportunities, he auditioned for Welcome Back, Caught Her. His portrayal of Vinnie Barbarino electrified the room. By 1976, he was one of the most recognizable young faces on television. Fame arrived suddenly, almost violently. Teenagers copied his walk. His image appeared on lunchboxes, posters, and magazine covers. Yet, behind the fame, Travolta remained cautious, aware of how fragile success could be. His dramatic depth became undeniable in The Boy in the Plastic Bubble, 1976, where he played a teenager born without an immune system. The role demanded emotional restraint and vulnerability. During filming, Travolta formed a close bond with Diana Hyland, who played his mother. When she died of cancer shortly after, the loss devastated him and deepened his emotional awareness as an actor. Then came Saturday Night Fever. More than 200 actors auditioned for Tony Manero, but Travolta's walk, studied and perfected from observation, set him apart instantly. The role transformed him into a cultural icon. At 23, he became one of the youngest actors ever nominated for an Academy Award for Best Actor. The film's success was staggering, and its soundtrack defined an era. Yet even at the height of disco fame, Travolta feared being trapped by it. What followed was a career of bold risks, painful missteps, and remarkable reinventions. Grease, Urban Cowboy, Blowout, The Rise, The Fall, the comeback with Pulp Fiction, Get Shorty, Face Off, and beyond. Each chapter left marks, but none cut deeper than the losses in his personal life. In 2009, his son Jet died at just 16 years old. Travolta's grief unfolded publicly during a painful trial that exposed his private agony to the world. The loss nearly broke him. In 2020, tragedy struck again when his wife, Kelly Preston, died of breast cancer. Married for nearly 3 decades, she had been his anchor through fame, failure, and recovery. Her death hollowed him in a way even close friends struggled to understand. By 2025, those cumulative losses seemed to surface in new ways. Travolta began speaking about legacy, closure, and gratitude with unusual urgency. He gave away treasured possessions. He recorded heartfelt messages. He moved through public appearances with grace, but also with a softness that felt like goodbye. Death hoaxes spread rapidly, and instead of outrage, his responses were calm, almost accepting. John Travolta is still working. He still flies planes, mentors young actors, and dances when the music, okay,